Hello, I'm Mike Biselli, and this is episode 12 of Passionate Pioneers. In this episode, we spent time with an internationally recognized entrepreneur, engineer, and inventor. Michael Golway is the president and CEO of Advanced Solutions Life Sciences and has dedicated his company to the discovery, design, and development of integrated software and hardware solutions for the fields of science that involve living organisms, molecular biology, and biotechnology. In short, Michael and his team are helping lead the global 3D bioprinting revolution through proprietary, cutting-edge, and innovative technology that is turning this new and nascent industry into reality. During this episode, Michael shared his history as an entrepreneur and some of the terrifying moments of building companies from scratch and how his almost 10-year-old company and bioprinting platform is perfectly positioned to empower scientists and innovators around the world to uncover new discoveries in their pursuits to bring a new health paradigm to the human race. I want to thank Michael and his team for the relentless pursuit and passion to unlock the mysteries of the human body and to discover new ways to bring physical health to so many people around the world. In personally knowing Michael, I have no doubt he will achieve his mission he discusses during this episode. I hope you join Michael and his team during their pioneering journey for mankind. Welcome to Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli, where we highlight and speak with the innovators, the game changers, and the pioneers who are deeply passionate and relentless in solving the problems our world is facing today. This is your opportunity to connect with and learn from these leaders and to support them on their mission. Perhaps they will soon be hearing your story as well. This is Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. I look forward to having you on this journey with us. Michael, welcome to our podcast, being recorded at Halo Creative Labs, located inside of Angel MD's headquarters here at Catalyst, our healthcare innovation campus in downtown Denver.
Mike, it's great to be with you. I look forward to the conversation today.
Well, Michael, I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today. Why, you might ask? Because I always love spending time with serial entrepreneurs. And you, my friend, are certainly that. While there are so many companies to talk about that you've either started or acquired, I can't wait to geek out and dive deep into your current company, Advanced Solutions Life Sciences, and its two mind-blowing technologies, your bioassembly bot and your tissue structure information and 3D modeling platform. But before we dive into how you and your company are creating and leading the 3D bioprinting revolution, a bit of housekeeping. For our audience, while listening to any of our episodes, please make sure to visit the episode notes to share feedback and ideas with our guests via our guest feedback form link and to nominate other passionate pioneers for a future episode via our guest nomination form link. And lastly, please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast so you will automatically receive episode updates in your podcast player. All right, Michael, let's take a moment to break the ice a bit before we dive in on the 3D bioprinting revolution. We're going to select a question here for you to answer. See what it comes up with. Okay. One thing that you love to do outside of your pioneering work in the 3D bioprinting revolution.
Wow, there's several things I enjoy doing outside day-to-day passion around this venture. But at the very top, I would put traveling with my wife, who's also my best friend. We really enjoy going out and traveling and seeing different parts of the world. So I would put that at the very top.
Well, you're singing from the same sheet of music that I love to sing as well. We love traveling as a family. Matter of fact, we're heading to Ecuador for Thanksgiving for this year, which we're really excited for.
Oh, that's outstanding.
Well, of course, it begs a follow-up question. Favorite place you've ever been to then?
Well, let's see. Again, several to choose from. But
right.
Growing up in Kentucky, one of the places that was on the bucket list that I finally got to go to was Hawaii. So I would say Maui for a couple of reasons. Watching the sunset over Molokai.
Oh, it's the best.
It's unbelievable. And my wife and I had an opportunity to go up to the Haleakala volcano and watch a sunrise. And on that particular morning, it was also a moon set. So just an incredible opportunity to witness some of the most spectacular beauty that our planet offers, and a very humbling event for us.
I actually was able to do the same exact thing with my sister years ago. And wow, was it cold up there.
It was cold.
It was freezing. And then, of course, we took a van up there, watched the sunrise. It was freezing cold. And then we took bikes down the volcano. And I think
you were much more adventurous.
I think it was like a 70 or 80 degree swing by the time we got down to the base. It was unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Well, great stuff. Hawaii is definitely at the top of my list as well. So thank you for sharing that, Michael.
Sure.
Wow, do we have a lot to cover today. Some incredible work that you and the team are doing. But one just doesn't fall into waking up one day to start a 3D bioprinting company. So we're going to need to rewind the clock a bit. And how does one get to the point of literally helping lead a revolution on 3D bioprinting? Take us back a bit, Michael. Your story is an incredible one, but set the stage of how you got to where you are and leading this revolution. Take us back a bit.
Well, it's very kind of you to say. I mentioned that I'm born and raised in Kentucky. I actually grew up in a rural county in Kentucky, and in between my junior and senior year, I was given a lot of consideration about what I wanted to do. And the entrepreneur piece of it was something that it was a bug that I had caught early in my life, and something that I knew I had a lot of passion for. I didn't quite understand how or what that looked like 10, 20 years from now, but I knew I wanted to do something in that area. And one of the interesting little story at our school, we actually got a computer in the counselor's office with a career guidance software program. So I went up and entered my likes and dislikes, and it came back and said, you should pursue careers either in hotel management or industrial engineering. And it was a stark contrast, obviously. And so didn't know a lot about industrial engineering. So I called down to our engineering school at the University of Louisville, the Speed School of Engineering. And I got a hold of the dean of industrial engineering department and told him I was just, getting ready to enter my senior year, was interested in industrial engineering. I didn't quite know a lot about that. And he had actually invited me down. And I remember I went down and went into his office. It's a classical engineering professor's office with books from floor to ceiling. Never forget it. I came out of that office absolutely sold on this is what I was going to do, in part because it was an engineering discipline that really embraced both the business side with the engineering. And so I got really excited about it, applied to engineering school and got rejected because I didn't have enough math. So I had to ask me to go another year in college to take some math, which I did. And ended up graduating with a Master of Engineering degree 5 years later, and went out and actually worked in general industry for a little while. But the passion for entrepreneurship was too strong. And in 2000, November of 2000, in fact, I'm coming up on my 19-year anniversary on November 17th. I took the plunge and bought my first company, which at the time was a very large company of two. I had an opportunity to start down the journey of an entrepreneur path. And 10 months after I bought the company, the event of 9/11 happened. And as a 32-year-old entrepreneur, I found myself facing the harsh reality that the economy was going south. Customers were very scared. They were, they just were not spending any money. And as a small company, you got to figure out how do we survive? And in the next 3 years, I found myself going without a paycheck. We basically ran a break-even business. So our employees got paid on time, our suppliers got paid on time, but it was a hard lesson that as an entrepreneur, you're the very last person in line to get paid. And so, fortunately, we survived that period. And really over the last 19 years, we've done 10 acquisitions, 6 startups, and I sold my very first company this past February. So I've had the great privilege and humbling honor to take the full ride of the entrepreneurial path from acquisition to startup to selling a company. And Today, Advanced Solutions is made up of 5 different subsidiaries, one of which is the Advanced Solutions Life Sciences that you mentioned.
Very cool, Michael. That's exciting, and I'm sure you have plenty of war stories along the way through that journey. As a fellow entrepreneur, I know I have them as well.
Yeah, it is one of the. I think the roller coaster analogy is a great analogy because there is incredible highs and there are incredible lows. But in hindsight, it's a journey I wouldn't trade. It's just been a remarkable opportunity for somebody like myself that grew up in a really great middle class family, and my parents were great enough to extend to me an opportunity that allowed me to get a great education and pursue my passion and dreams.
Well, I know that a lot of people ask about, what do you love about being an entrepreneur the most? And I don't know if this resonates with you, but it's amazing how much you find out about yourself along the journey.
It is so true. That is actually very well said. It is a process that I look back at 32 years old and how I handled different situations and the evolution and the maturity that the journey takes you through is something quite remarkable. The other thing I would say that has been remarkable for me is just the people that have been a part of my life and a part of the journey, both employees and team members within the company and incredible customers that we've had an opportunity to forge long-term, lasting relationships with.
Hey, you couldn't have said it better, Michael. I appreciate that. So let's start diving in a bit. I know on this episode, we're going to really focus in on that life sciences division within Advanced Solutions. But before we do that, you just mentioned a little bit ago that there are several subsidiaries of Advanced Solutions. Let's unpack that a bit. How long has Advanced Solutions been around? Why do you have several subsidiaries? And then we're going to start diving in on that life sciences piece after that.
Sure. So, Advanced Solutions is actually a 32-and-a-half-year-old company. It was started in 1987, the year I graduated from high school, ironically enough. And it was originally a company that focused on being a value-added reseller for a company called Autodesk. Autodesk is a publicly traded company that invented AutoCAD, which is a software product that a lot of people are more familiar with. But, Autodesk is a $3.5 billion company, global company. It's a de facto standard in terms of software that engineers and architects around the world use to design and develop innovation. And so that was the original business model. And I had the opportunity when I was going to college to work full time. And I actually got a job with an engineering department with a local company in Louisville, Kentucky, when I got admitted into engineering school. And they hired me as a board draftsman. And I did that for about a year, found out I wasn't really good at board drafting. But as a part of the engineering curriculum, you actually take the AutoCAD course and you learn this new digital 2D drawing package. And so I actually put a proposal together that I took to the corporate engineer, and at the time it was a single PC workstation with a software and a plotter that was a $25,000 investment. And I pitched it to the corporate engineer, and he actually bought it. And I bought that first computer system from Advanced Solutions. It's an interesting little tie back in the history there. So I became fast friends with the owner of Advanced Solutions, and I was always an admiring customer of just the business model. And as the years progressed, every time I needed a new engineering workstation, I'd go back to Advanced Solutions, and it just there was a crossing of opportunities in that relationship where the owner was looking for an exit strategy, and I was looking to expand the entrepreneurial side of what we were building. And so it worked out. I ended up buying that company in November of 2004. And like I said, so today we've really been building out that team and that subject matter expertise primarily around the engineering discipline. But 10 years ago or 9 years ago, when we first got started in this life sciences project, we began to add additional technical subject matter expertise in the biology and the medical areas. So, it's been just a wonderful journey to build a team around the highly technical, highly engineering type approach to solving problems. And I'll share this with you. When I still remember the first day that I bought IDS Engineering, which was the first company that I bought in 2000. And at the time, I had the old black leather journal that I would write in daily. And on that very first day, I wrote my 1, 3, 5, 10. I even put a 20-year goal on there. I also wrote on the page, do something profound and positive. And
wow.
I didn't understand. I mean, that's not really a goal. I didn't know what profound and positive was, but I did recognize that, given the right opportunity to grow a team of really smart people that are committed to solving tough problems, that there would be good that comes out of that. And as simple as that may sound, that's really been a guiding light for us. Is one of the things I've recognized as an entrepreneur, and I really have appreciated this more as I've gotten older, is 3 things. One is life is too short. And even if you live your life expectancy, I just think it's too daggone short. And so, we're obviously trying to positively impact that with our life sciences business. But the other thing that I've come to appreciate is we're living in the greatest time in human history. And sometimes I get pushback on that. It's like, having you turn on the news, I mean, it's depressing. My response to that is, there are problems in the world. I don't doubt that. But in my life experience, things like when I'm hungry, I eat. When I get sick, I go gain access to the best medical treatments that have ever been available in human history. I spend my days in incredibly, beautiful structures that keep me cool in the summer and warm in the winter and safe from the predators. And I, all things compared, I think we're living in one of the greatest times in human history, if not the greatest time.
I couldn't agree more. And, you mentioned that years ago in that black leather journal you wrote on that first page, do something profound. We now actually have a definition for that today, and we call it an impact entrepreneur. So before we even could define it, you were already thinking along those lines years ago, which is really, really cool. So, Michael, you are doing some very profound work with you and your colleagues with the Life Sciences Division at Advanced Solutions. I want to read something because I love that this is from your website, and I love it, and it'll really set the stage for us to kind of dive in on all this. And it states, Advanced Solutions Life Sciences is dedicated to the discovery, design, and development of integrated software and hardware solutions for the fields of science that involve living organisms, molecular biology, and biotechnology. My head just exploded a bit, Michael. So before we dive in how you and your organization are really leading this 3D bioprinting revolution, I think we need to unpack that for a moment. And here's the reason why. A lot of people are still wrapping their heads around what is just 3D printing in and of itself, right? And that is still kind of a new concept to the masses. What is 3D bioprinting? Let's talk about that first, and then we'll dive into the company and what all of you are up to at Advanced Solutions Life Sciences. What is 3D bioprinting?
Well, so 3D bioprinting has evolved out of the 3D printing technology that came out of the early 80s. And more people are maybe familiar with 3D printing in a manufacturing setting where you're printing plastics and even metals today. And it's a process where you actually add material to create a 3D object. That's why they call it additive manufacturing. And so we're doing exactly the same thing, except instead of plastic and metal, we're using human cells to build an additive 3D work product. And so in our case, we're looking to build 3D human tissues, and with the ultimate goal of being able to 3D print human organs.
Unbelievable. So obviously some of those technologies within Advanced Solutions Life Sciences is that, as we mentioned earlier, that bioassembly bot, the 3D modeling platform. Are those the tools to help get to one day where you're going to actually print these organs? And if so, explain those products that live within your organization a bit.
Yeah, exactly. So the bioassembly bot was an invention. In fact, we just got our patent on that last March. It is the world's first 3D human tissue printer that uses a 6-axis robot.
That is so cool.
So the 6-axis robot actually has an interesting history. It was, first patented back in 1954, a gentleman by the name of George Duval. It wasn't until 1962 that he convinced General Motors to build the very first one. And it was a 4,000-pound robot. It did a little bit of moving part from point A to point B. It did a little bit of spot welding, and that was the birth of what we know today as the industrial robot. And I mention that because we're humbled, certainly from our engineering, our technical perspective, at the history, and it goes back to the time in history that we live in. You think about how the industrial robot has proliferated the planet, and today what we've come to expect from industrial robots is very fast, agile, high production, low cost. It's interesting to say. I mean, it's only in 2019 that the robot, and it took 60 years of journey to do this, but the robot's gotten small enough and capable enough, improved enough, had enough failures in the last 60 years, and more importantly, a few successes that we built on that we can actually put it in a box and teach it to print human organs. And so it's a humbling recognition of some of the journeys of the technology that we use today to solve problems that we're trying to solve problems that have plagued humanity for since we've been around. And so it's a platform that utilizes a 6-axis robot to do more than just 3D printing, because we have a 6-axis arm that moves like a human arm. We can actually not only 3D print, but we can also do things like you would find in a typical manufacturing environment. We can move material around. We can interchange different tools on the wrist of the robot arm, and we can do things like take scientific measurements. We can pipette cells from one place to another. And really the vision that we had for this platform was to bring forward all the things that we've learned in the traditional manufacturing side. And that is an agile, flexible platform where the robot actually interfaces with other pieces of equipment. And in the 9 years that we've been doing this, the platform has now evolved where it's interfacing with other pieces of equipment like incubators and microscope imaging. And so we're starting to stitch together these technologies in a way that we can robotically and automatically control the processing steps that are required to ultimately achieve our goal of building human tissue replacements or human organ replacements. And the way we're solving the problem, I mean, there's lots of ways to solve the problem, but we've never thought that the process was going to be like a traditional 3D printer where you press go and layer by layer you in the print and you've got a heart. We've looked at it more from a standpoint that when I look at a heart as an example, I see a bunch of subassemblies. And so, we've looked at solving the problem by bringing forward a technology platform that allows us to build and assemble the biology in a way that we can get the biology to begin to perform in an intended way or function, and then bring those sub-assemblies together in a more complex form to build up ultimately, a replacement tissue. And I got to tell you, as an engineer, the biology has been a very humbling technology and science for me. It operates on its own set of rules. So in manufacturing, where you may 3D print plastic and you can do that at a very high speed and very consistently and high quality, at a cellular level, these cells talk to each other. And what's really been fascinating to me is that platforms like the Bioassembly Bot and our T-Sim software that you mentioned allow us to assemble these cells in environments where they become happy. And that's from an engineer's perspective, that's what I've learned. When we get these cells in a happy spot, they know exactly what to do. And they talk to each other in a way that says, I'm in this type of an environment, so I'm going to build whatever I need to support that environment. And so that piece of it has been incredibly exciting for us. And I'm obviously partial to this, but I think our platform with Bioassembly Bot and T-Sim allow us to bring that type of technology and tool to our end users in a way that they can fail fast forward. They can test different scenarios of how do we add these cells in a way that they perform like we intend them to. And it's a very, as you can appreciate, it's a very complicated process, and you have to just have a platform that you can fail. You can fail a lot, and you can fail fast, and you can move on until you find that next success.
That is so cool. I'm just completely nerding out over here listening to you, Michael. This is incredibly exciting work. So obviously you are all setting the stage with this platform, doing incredible work to lay down the infrastructure for this revolution that is obviously coming to the masses across the globe one day. So let's talk about that a bit. You said earlier, obviously one of the ultimate goals here is to, pull one over the finish line and pull these opportunities over the finish line to print full-on organs. How far out are we? How far out are we from that happening? How far out are we from, everyday citizen receiving one of these organs? How far out are we in regards to really seeing this market, blossom and really start scaling? Give us a little bit of a lowdown on how far out is all of this.
Well, I'm probably going to deliver a disappointing response here, but let me answer it this way. When you look at the human body, there's varying levels of complexity. So as an example, you look at the complexity to build a liver versus a heart versus a kidney versus a pancreas. There's varying levels of complexity with that. So what I believe will transpire, and this is based on the 9 years that I've been focused on this, I believe we will start to see some of the simpler types of structures that we'll build upon from there. And so, as an example, I think we'll probably start to see bone replacements, 3D printed bone replacements as an initial entry into beginning to help humans. One of the strategies that we had with this platform was, to try to engineer and develop the world's most capable platform and get it in the hands of the really smart scientists around the world. And when you look at the landscape around the world, we have some incredibly talented people that are focused on, in fact, they've dedicated their life careers to figuring out how to build a liver, figuring out how to build a heart. And so what we really wanted to do was get this platform in the hands of those folks and enable a way that they could begin to standardize a recipe so that we can begin to bring this to human use.
So are those experts around, and I love this model, I'm all about enablement of the real smart people in the room, right? These experts that you guys are collaborating with around the world, are they giving you any early indications? Like, for instance, you mentioned printing a bone. How far out is that as one example? Are we talking 1 year, 2 years? Like, what type of timeline there?
Yeah, I think bone is probably in the next 2 to 3 years that you start to see this become, very mainstream. Yeah,
that's not that far out.
It's not that far out.
Wow.
And I got to tell you, in the 9 years, if I just look at the 9 years that I've been involved in this, the pace of innovation today is astounding compared to where we were just 9 years ago. And so I get incredibly excited about the possibilities of bringing this all together in a format that begins to really help people in my lifetime. And in a meaningful, profound, and positive way. So, I get asked that question all the time. And it's just, what I do know is that with enough energy and effort and enough smart people focused on a problem, we've proven as just from a pure humanity standpoint, that we can solve the toughest problems that are thrown at us. And I think this is one that the technology, both on the hardware, software, biology side, they've all evolved to a point where we're at an interesting crossroads where we can start to stitch these things together in a way that allows us to really start solving these problems.
That is so cool. And of course, for our listening community, we will be including in the episode notes several links to learn more about Michael's work, the organization of Advanced Solutions Life Sciences, and to be able to allow all of you to dive deeper on this revolution that is inevitably coming and will certainly impact the health of people around the world. So, Michael, an incredible story, and what a journey. It sounds like that you've been on for a while, but it also sounds like you're just getting going as well. There's so much to discover here, so many incredible innovations that I know will be coming within our lifetime. And so thank you for all of your leadership on that. Incredible story. But let's turn it over to the community a bit, though. Can you share with our community listening in one problem, need, or question that you currently have that they could be helping with?
So the need that we have as a small business, we're 9 years into this platform. We've been able to commercialize the platform. We're in 6 different countries now, and we're starting to get some momentum. But the reality is, we're a small company and headquartered in Louisville, Kentucky, and we're seeking some incredibly talented sales professionals that have a passion around this technology, this emerging industry. And, we're very fortunate, at least in the U.S., we're experiencing, an incredible economy. And so there's many options for the really top-notch professional salespeople out there that they can choose from. And so if I could just ask the community as a whole, if they know of anybody that is maybe looking or has a passion around this, to give us a consideration, because we're looking to expand the sales team, which in effect will enable us to begin to really tell the story to a broader base. And as you subscribe to in terms of the power of the community, when we can, we're really leveraging our community to teach this robot to 3D print human tissues. And the more we expand that, the quicker we'll get up the curve to solving meaningful problems for damaged or diseased tissues.
Well, what we'll do is, of course, everybody listening in, you can head to the episode notes. There will be a link to the guest feedback form. So anybody listening in, whether it be you or others in your network that know business development executives that want to literally create the future of health for our world, here is one heck of an opportunity. So we'll be sure to include that in the episode notes, Michael.
Thank you.
And then also, how can the community get a hold of you, whether it be through social media, websites, or others? What are some connectivity points for our community to get in contact with you or Advanced Solutions Life Sciences?
Well, so easy way is to go to bioassemblybot.com. AdvancedSolutions.com is also an easy connection point if you want to take a look at a broader range of the subsidiaries that we're involved in. And I'm old school. If you want to reach out to me directly, email is still the best way. So mgolway@advancedsolutions.com will get directly to me.
Well, that's perfect, Michael. And again, we will include all of that in our episode notes, so make sure to review those while listening in on this very exciting episode. All right, Michael, well, we're going to take it home here. I got to fill in the blank for you. Please fill this in. I'm a passionate pioneer because?
I am a passionate pioneer because I recognize life is too short. We don't have an infinite amount of time. We're living in the greatest time in human history. And by the way, we're also very fortunate to be living in one of the best spots in the world. And I look at that as a gift, not an entitlement. And so I'm a passionate pioneer because I want to turn that gift into something that results in profound and positive.
Well, I knew this episode was going to be incredibly exciting and even more. What a phenomenal story that you are still crafting in real time, Michael, with Advanced Solutions Life Sciences. helping to create the revolution around 3D bioprinting, and more importantly, your service to this industry and to the health of our world. I thank you for all of your work and your dedication to making our globe a better place. And you know you have a friend here a mile high in Denver, Colorado. Thank you for being a part of our podcast today and sharing your story. And we look forward to continuing to follow your journey and all the wonderful work that your organization will be doing now and into the future. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Mike. It's a real pleasure, and thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for joining us today on Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. We'd love to hear your feedback about the podcast so we can continue to improve this community and to further support the pioneers being featured. Lastly, please take a moment to subscribe to the podcast and invite your friends and colleagues to join us. This is Passionate Pioneers with Mike Biselli. I look forward to having you back with us during our next episode.